Welcome to the Finance Marketing Podcast, a show that empowers finance professionals to market their businesses in ways that feel good and actually achieve results. I'm your host, Hillary. I've been working with folks in financial services to develop marketing strategies that work and create results-oriented marketing content since 2020. And I've learned a lot about what works in finance marketing, what doesn't work, and where financial services pros get stuck. Join us each Friday as we explore real, effective ways to market your finance business and connect with folks who truly embody your ideal clients. Hey there, listeners. Hillary here today. Welcome to another episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. I am really excited about today's topic because it addresses something I see financial advisors struggling with all the time. And it's this concept of having what I like to call a complete marketing ecosystem. So I was talking with an advisor just last week who was feeling really frustrated. He's been posting consistently on LinkedIn for months and months, and he gets tons of engagement, lots of comments. People reshare his posts. He gets lots of connection requests. He even gets some DMs, but none of it is turning into actual booked discovery calls. So if you can relate to this frustration, there is some good news. The problem is not your content. And in fact, you've already done the really hard part. And the hard part is creating content consistently that gets engagement. That's the hardest part for most people. The problem is that you're simply missing key pieces of your marketing ecosystem. And it's those key pieces that are responsible for why your fans or followers or connections on one platform aren't turning into booked discovery calls. So we're going to talk about how to bridge that gap. And in this episode, I'm going to break down what exactly a marketing ecosystem is and why you financial advisors specifically need one, the critical components every complete ecosystem needs to function properly. I'm going to share a few examples of what happens when you're missing these key pieces. And finally, we'll talk about how to start building your own ecosystem that actually converts fans and followers into book discovery calls and ultimately clients. So if you are tired of putting effort into marketing without seeing the results show up on your calendar, buckle up and let's dive in. So I like to use the term marketing ecosystem to describe all the connected pieces that work together to market your business. Just like in a natural ecosystem that we all learned about in freshman high school science class, each piece has a specific function and they all support one another. And the reason that I use this ecosystem metaphor is because too many advisors I know are creating isolated pieces of content without thinking about how they work together with other aspects of the way that they market themselves. So you might have a website, but it hasn't been updated since you launched your firm. You might have a LinkedIn profile, but it reads more like a resume rather than an engaging sales page that speaks directly to your niche. You might be posting on LinkedIn or Twitter or sending occasional emails. Maybe you even have a budding YouTube channel or a podcast. But if these pieces aren't connected in a strategic way, you're not getting the full benefit from your efforts. And ultimately, you're wasting a lot of time on creating content that's not working very hard for you. So if we return back to this ecosystem metaphor, let's think about like a natural ecosystem. If one element goes missing, like let's say the pollinators disappear, which is something we've heard about in the news over the last few years, the whole entire system starts to break down. And that's really what's happening with your marketing efforts. So let me give you a simple example of what a complete marketing ecosystem looks like. So first, you have your foundational pieces. These are pieces that almost every business owner at least starts with. These, in my opinion, for financial advisors are a website and your LinkedIn profile. And these two are so critical because even if you are not creating content online, even if you're not posting on LinkedIn, these are places that potential clients will look when they're searching for you, whether they heard about you from a friend or saw you speak at an event or something else. These are places that people will go to look for you. And so they need to be optimized and aligned with your brand message and your niche, no matter where else you market yourself. Then beyond these foundational pieces, you have your awareness piece. For content creators, this is usually social media and perhaps some long form content like blogs, podcasts, or videos. People can find these things out in the wild on the internet and become aware of you. Now, for someone who isn't creating content yet, this is your cold calling, your networking events, the seminars you give in your community. It may even be your referral program. Maybe that's all you have right now for people to become aware of you. So, however, people hear about you, this is the awareness piece of your marketing ecosystem. Next, you need a bridge piece. And this is the thing that most people are missing when they come to me for help. But a bridge piece is actually just as foundational as your website and your LinkedIn profile. And the bridge piece is typically some sort of lead magnet. And a lead magnet is a mechanism that allows you to capture contact information from the people who become aware of you and then move them from being casual followers to more engaged subscribers. And I'm going to share in just a minute why having this bridge piece is so important, particularly in financial services. Now, from there, you need relationship building content. After you've moved them into becoming more engaged subscribers, these are usually email nurture sequences and regular newsletters that deepen the relationship with your subscribers and give them the chance to get to know you better, to start to like you, to start to trust you. And then finally, in this relationship building content, you need clear calls to action or clear invitations for people to take the next step and book a discovery call. And when all of these pieces work together, they create a journey that naturally moves people from awareness to interest to trust to action. Now, this journey is absolutely crucial in the financial services space because becoming someone's financial advisor is both a very vulnerable relationship and it's often a somewhat expensive relationship. It's not like someone is paying $100 and getting something from you and then moving on. They are often investing thousands of dollars into a long term relationship with you. And clients, are not only sharing an emotionally vulnerable part of their lives with you, but in many cases, for a lot of advisors, they're literally handing over the management of their life savings. So all of this means that the level of trust required for someone who doesn't know you to become a client is extraordinarily high. Your potential clients really do need multiple touch points with you and your content before they'll feel comfortable to reach out for that first conversation. They need to get to know your philosophy, your approach, and probably even a bit of your personality before they will entrust you with their financial future. But here's what I see happening all the time with financial advisors. They focus on one part of the ecosystem. Maybe they have a pretty decent website, but their LinkedIn profile is a bit of a mess. Or they're posting good content, but they have no lead magnet. Or they have all the pieces, but the pieces were created pretty haphazardly over several years. So they're no longer connected in any meaningful or strategic way. And this is why so many advisors feel like they're putting in so much effort into marketing, but not seeing great results. So, with that said, let me share some examples I have seen of what happens when key components of your marketing system are missing, and you can see if any of these sound familiar. So, first, some advisors really do have a foundation gap problem. This is when you have really great awareness content. Maybe you're speaking at community events where your niche is attending, or you're posting on social media and you're actually getting really good engagement, but your foundational pieces, your website and or your LinkedIn profile don't match the quality of your content or no longer align with the topics that you're talking about. And so they don't speak clearly to your niche. I worked with an advisor a few years ago who was fantastic at networking with hospital administrators and regularly gave retirement planning seminars to rooms full of doctors and nurses. The turnout was always great, and she had great engagement during her events. And she started to notice that her LinkedIn profile views ticked up after she gave a seminar. But she was only averaging maybe one discovery call after each event, and sometimes none at all. It would just be crickets. So when I looked at her LinkedIn profile and her website, Both were totally generic retirement planning platforms and made no mention whatsoever of her specializing in healthcare professionals. So she was making really great connections, but she was essentially leaking prospects when they went to search for her after the fact and then didn't see themselves in her foundational pieces. So once we optimized her website and LinkedIn profile to match her niche focus, more attendees started reaching out for discovery calls, and those missing foundational pieces were no longer costing her clients. Now, another common problem I've seen is what I like to call the LinkedIn island problem, because most of the advisors I know are creating successfully on LinkedIn. But really, this can apply to any one type of content creation that you're kind of over focusing on or over exposing yourself to, so to speak. And this is really common for advisors within their first, year to 3 years to maybe even 5 years in business. This happens when an advisor is really active on their platform. Again, I'm using LinkedIn because it's the most common example that I've seen. They're posting thoughtful content, they're engaging with others, they're building a following, but then they have no way to move those connections off of the platform. I know an advisor who had over 3,000 connections on LinkedIn. He regularly got 50 or more likes on his posts, and people would often comment saying how helpful his insights were. They were even marveling at how well his marketing must be working. And from the outside looking in, it really did seem like he was thriving. But when I met him during a strategy call, he actually shared with me that he wasn't seeing any of this translate to new clients and that it was starting to feel kind of embarrassing. So, from my perspective, the missing piece was pretty simple. He needed a lead magnet and a welcome nurture sequence that allowed those really engaged followers to get to know and trust him on a deeper level off of the social platform. Now, without this, he really had no way to deepen the relationship with all those LinkedIn connections, and the relationships remained really surface level. Plus, he was essentially building his house on rented land, so to speak. If LinkedIn changed its algorithm tomorrow, which they do all the time, all of his hard work could disappear overnight if all of a sudden his posts aren't getting shown in the feed, or, God forbid, he got restricted for the platform, which absolutely does happen. So he needed a way to create an audience that wasn't just going to disappear overnight. So once we created a lead magnet addressing a specific pain point for his ideal clients, and he started promoting it on LinkedIn, that's when he started to see some changes. Within 6 to 9 months, he had moved over 200 of his connections onto his email list, and he had booked 8 discovery calls directly from that list, whereas before he was booking 0 discovery calls. Now, another example is what I call the one and done seminar problem. And this is another problem that the client I spoke about earlier was having when she was giving her retirement planning seminars to doctors and nurses. Like I said, people would attend, they would engage during the session, they were asking questions, they were taking notes, but then they would disappear. So, in addition to updating her website and her LinkedIn profile, she also added a slide with a QR code at the end of her seminar that attendees could scan with their phone. And they would get a free guide that she had created. So they essentially got her lead magnet. And then once they got that resource, she followed up with a simple email sequence that would go out to the attendees over the following 2 weeks, each one providing additional value related to the topic that she spoke about and gradually introducing her services and her role as an advisor. So once she started doing this, more and more of her attendees were reaching out to her, and she was starting to get more and more book discovery calls and ultimately more clients. So all of these examples highlight a really crucial truth. It's not enough to create great content or to give great talks or to do one piece of your ecosystem really, really well. You need an ecosystem where each piece serves a specific purpose in moving people toward becoming clients along a journey that you've created for them. So, what does this mean for you and your marketing? It means that before you create another piece of content, you need to think about how it fits into your overall ecosystem and the journey you're creating for potential clients to get to know you and to trust you enough to book that discovery call. So, first, you will want to take stock of what you already have and what you're already doing. So, how do your foundational pieces look? Have you updated your website since you started your firm? Or is it that same FMG Suite template that you used because you didn't know where else to start? Is your LinkedIn profile optimized to show prospects why you're the right advisor for them? Or is it just listing your past experiences as though you're trying to get hired for a job? For many advisors that I work with, simply fixing these foundational pieces makes a noticeable difference in how their other marketing efforts perform. Because even if your marketing strategy is built solely on referrals right now, prospects are going to look you up online before they reach out. And so what they find needs to build their confidence and get them excited and not undermine their confidence or make them hesitate to reach out to you. Next, you want to think about your awareness content. Are you consistently showing up on a platform where your ideal clients spend time? For most advisors, LinkedIn is the gold mine, but you might also need or want a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel to really build your platform and expound on topics and share stories and things like that. Then you need to consider your bridge piece. And for most advisors that I work with, this is the missing piece, that lead magnet that moves people from social media or your podcast listenership onto your email list. And without this, you are constantly having to create new content to stay top of mind because social platforms simply don't show your content to all of your followers all the time. So, a good lead magnet for financial advisors can't be just anything, it can't be just any freebie. It needs to address a specific pain point for your ideal clients or your niche. Now, it could be a guide, it could be a workbook, it could be a webinar, it could even be a mini email course. The important thing is that it is specifically tailored to a niche and it provides real value to them and helps them solve a real problem. I always like a lead magnet to give somebody a quick win in some way because that's going to build their trust in you. Now, once you have a lead magnet, you need a nurture sequence to go along with it. You don't want people to get your lead magnet, be in your email list, and then hear crickets from you. And a nurture sequence is simply a series of emails that go out automatically to each new subscriber when they download your lead magnet. This is where you start building that deeper relationship, sharing your philosophy, addressing objections they might have to working with you, and establishing yourself as the expert they need. So you want to be really, really intentional and strategic with what goes into this nurture sequence so that it's hitting all of these boxes. Additionally, throughout the nurture sequence, you need to have clear calls to action towards the end of it, inviting people to take the next step when they're ready, which is to book a discovery call with you. Now, this, of course, I realize can sound pretty overwhelming. And a lot of advisors do get very overwhelmed by this. They think they need to build this entire ecosystem all at once, and it becomes so daunting that they never start. So, this is why I always recommend starting with your foundation first, getting your website and your LinkedIn profile dialed in, then focus on one content channel and do it consistently. That might be LinkedIn, that might be YouTube. Then add in a lead magnet and create a simple nurture sequence to go along with it. Build your ecosystem piece by piece, making sure that each component is working before adding in the next. But as you add in more pieces to your ecosystem, the key is to think really strategically about how they all work together and continually updating and checking to make sure that each one is still aligned with all of the others. So, your website and LinkedIn profile should clearly communicate your niche. Anytime you shift your niche or you realize something new about your niche that you want to dial in on, go back to your website and your LinkedIn profile and update those. Your social media should build engagement and promote your lead magnet. You really want your social media to be a place where you're building awareness, but you're also funneling people into that next stage of the journey, which is into your email list. You also want to make sure that your lead magnet is funneling the right people into your email list. An email list of 3,000 people does no good for you whatsoever if it's people who aren't qualified to work with you, or people who don't want to work with you, or people that you don't want to work with. So you want to make sure that your lead magnet is really tailored to that right niche. Your emails should then nurture subscribers towards booking a call. And when all of these pieces are aligned, your system becomes much more powerful than any individual piece of content. So I know that you might be thinking, Hillary, on paper, this sounds great, but in practice, does this really work? And who has time to create all of this? I'm busy serving my clients. And I want you to know, I hear you. Building a complete marketing ecosystem, it takes time and it takes marketing expertise. And these are two things that a lot of financial advisors are short on. And this is why I've developed the Marketing Cornerstones program specifically for financial advisors who know the power of content marketing, but don't have time to become a full-blown marketer themselves. This program starts with a custom marketing strategy and then gives you all three of the key assets or cornerstones that I have talked about that you need to move prospects from one phase of your marketing ecosystem to the next. So after we have created your strategy, we start by optimizing your foundational pieces, your website and your LinkedIn profile, so they immediately resonate with the prospects who come seeking you out. Then we create the other essential components that you need for a well-oiled marketing ecosystem machine. We also create your lead magnet and the nurture sequence to go with it, designed specifically for your niche, along with content guidelines that make your ongoing content creation easier. These assets are all professionally created and beautifully designed so that you can hit the ground running with your content. But the best part about this program is that we don't just hand over these cornerstones and then leave you to figure them out yourself. You also get one-on-one coaching throughout the program so that you can capitalize on these assets and make effective use of your marketing ecosystem. So the Marketing Cornerstones program is unlike any other program for financial advisors out there. It is not just about giving you marketing materials. It's about building a whole system that works for you while you focus on what you do best, serving your clients. And with this system in place, you will have a reliable way to attract new prospects, nurture relationships, and convert followers into book discovery calls, all without spending hours every week creating content that's not doing anything for you. So today we have covered what a marketing ecosystem is and why it's essential for financial advisors. We've looked at the consequences of missing key components, and we've talked about how you can start building your own ecosystem piece by piece. And remember that marketing is a long game. Small actions done consistently over time get better results than big infrequent leaps. And it's all about developing a marketing ecosystem that you can commit to without burning out. So if you're ready to start building your own marketing ecosystem, I've created a free guide that will help you get started called Marketing Minus the Overwhelm. It is a workbook style guide that will walk you through this process step by step, help you map out your current marketing efforts and identify your next steps. And you can download this free baby in the show notes. And if you'd like to learn more about our Marketing Cornerstones program and see if it might be right for you, you can head to the link in the show notes and book a discovery call with yours truly. As always, thank you so much for listening to the Finance Marketing Podcast, and I will catch you on the next episode next Friday. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. If you're eager to market your business in a way that feels good and actually gets results, sign up for the Finance Marketing Podcast newsletter in the show notes so you never miss another episode. If you liked what you heard today, please be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening app and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you back here next Friday.